Hello. 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 No sound from you. Sorry. Hello. So we're still not hearing from you. No sound. Maybe it's me. Do I need to leave and come back?
Wonderful. Go ahead, Beena. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was talking away, but I didn't have my audio on, and just
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, trying to get everything organized here, and it's just like the cameras on AI, and it's making my background a mess and stuff like that. So I'll fix it all in a moment. Let me just first of all do record here, and then also yeah, I did admit grain already. Yes. All right, we good. Go ahead, Beena. Go ahead.
Hello and
Share your
welcome to,
moreness.
yes. Hello and welcome to Moreness-Culture. Good Moreness Grain. Good Moreness everyone who is going to join us live and will watch us recorded later. We see you guys there, your digital footprint there on YouTube and of course on other platforms that you guys are visiting us. Not only visiting, but you guys are making comments also. Some of them, but of course some of you. So please, if you find this valuable, interesting, or if you find this even, okay, nothing, but still you are watching it, please do leave your mark there. We would love to respond to that. And this is something we enjoy a lot. When people say things,
Oh
which of
yeah.
course not necessarily agreeing with us, we still enjoy that. While still, I was deliberately not trying to ignore you, but giving you time to adjust your background so I can say hello to you. So good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning. I haven't managed to adjust the background fully yet, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I'm
just
trying. You see
giving
how
like,
it jumps about because it's on
yes,
AI
that's
now.
why I was not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I was not saying good mornings to you because yeah, I was
Yeah.
just giving you time to adjust your thing. Anyway, while Sil is busy doing that, and of course he's going to share on other platforms. Yes, welcome back. We were busy and doing a lot of other things, as appropriate always, and we were not being able to do lives. There are situations, of course, good busyness in my life. So I'm okay, not being like really able to do things on time. I'm trying my best, but again, appropriateness is the key. It's like
Yeah.
really on top of everything. Whenever you do your part, you try to do things as impeccably as you can, then leave it to appropriateness. This is the magic. Then you can live without guilt. Appropriateness,
Yeah.
understanding of appropriateness is the key, is the real remedy for no guilt, no regrets. Oh, yes, things might not be as you really want to do, as you really want to have that particular specific outcome of them from them, but still the most positive and the most beneficial, the most remarkable thing from the understanding of appropriateness is once you do your part thoroughly, then leave it for appropriateness.
Yeah.
You will live guilt free, and being guilt free, being regret free is the one of the foundations of moreness life.
Yes. 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 Moreness-Living, Moreness-Culture. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This is the one of the basic foundational uh, steps towards moreness living, moreness culture, moreness life.
Yes.
And this is
Wonderful.
something like, okay, just before coming here, just to give you a bit more time, Sil, Uh,
I'm
there
good.
are a lot of assumptions. Yes, okay. There are a lot of assumptions about moreness living. There are a lot of
Yes.
assumptions about way of impeccability. And of course, there
Yes.
are a lot
Yes.
of assumptions about SIL also.
Yeah.
Because if you are, if you are trying, I'm saying, okay, again, according to my understanding. So if you are trying to live honestly with yourself, with others, and with the universe, if you are trying to live honestly, you are going to make other people a bit uncomfortable at least. Yeah, they might get
Yes.
offended also,
Yes.
but at least some uncomfortableness is going to be there because we are so used to with the should of niceness that, oh, don't say things like that. You have to be polite. Don't say that. I was struggling with that since my childhood, that why it is okay to do something, but not okay to say about that. And that was something I was
Yes, the
really always
hypocrisy.
getting
Hypocrisy. Yeah.
some problem with my parents also, because when
Yeah.
someone was doing something and I know they are doing, like they are lying or they are doing something, and when I say that upfront on their face, my parents like, Beena,
To
they are
their face.
elders.
To their face.
Yeah, to their face, yes. And when I say that, my parents like, Beena, no, they are elders. But I say,
Yeah.
why it is okay to do something bad at that mindset,
Right.
but
Right.
not okay to say something about it.
Exactly.
Again,
Exactly. Exactly. And this was a big issue for me also. And this whole
this was
elders thing.
beyond my understanding. Yeah, this
Yeah.
was beyond my understanding, that why I am the culprit here who is just mentioning that, but
Yeah.
they are not, because they were actively involving, deliberately doing all sort of things.
Yeah.
And this the same is happening still now when we have problems.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like just putting myself in this example here. If I have a problem, any kind of problem, like, okay, oh, the big ego, or maybe a nonsense, or maybe some should mindset, whatever. If I have a
Yeah.
problem and I'm carrying my life with this, I'm doing all sort of things in my life according to, or under influence of these things, like under influence of my ego or my nonsense or whatever. But if Sil is coming and he is mentioning that, then Sil is a bad person. Oh my God, he is mentioning all those things. But
Huh.
I'm not going to be blamed, but that I was the one who was doing that. So this is the very really horrible thing from the should paradigm, that you
Yeah.
can do things, but to mentioning it, to say it, to talk about it, to accept it, that's a real crime. And this is
Yeah.
something we, at least
Yeah.
me and Sil, I can include myself, because I
Yeah.
was struggling with since my childhood, even before Way of Impeccability, I was struggling with this. Like, why to do things is okay, but to say about them,
It's not.
mentioning it,
Yeah.
is wrong. And it
Hypocrisy,
is
in other words. Hypocrisy. Yeah, it's terrible.
absolute
Terrible.
hypocrisy, and also it is the, like, by force establishing the should paradigm, the superiority
Yeah.
paradigm.
Yeah.
This is the real force there. Oh no, you cannot even talk about it. I can do this, but you cannot talk about it. If
Yeah.
Beena is involved in this ego mindset, and okay, yes, or the should mindset, and when Sil is going to mention that Sil is a bad person, immediately, no, he's not polite,
Yeah.
he's rude, he's rough, he's arrogant, and all sorts of things. This is how we do things. But it is completely opposite in the Moreness culture. This is opposite of it. When we have things, we can discuss. I'm not saying that oh yes, okay, I'm a saint, I'm not going to feel that. Of course I'm going to feel that, because my ego is still intact, because it's a defense mechanism for me. I need that ego. It has to be appropriately with me all the time, but it should not override me. It should not influence my way of life, my way of being. So whenever something come up, I was like, it's uncomfortable to accept. It is
Yes.
impossible to digest this much
Yes.
reality.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God, still
And
no, you are rude,
yeah.
you are arrogant, you are talking about all those things. Okay.
Yes. Well, also, when we talk about things in a moreness way, so let's take Bina as example, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yes.
and some of Bina's previous friends,
Oh,
so
yes.
that's changed as Bina's growing, and this is life, right? Understand
Huh.
that, things change, and what was appropriate
Hmm.
before is not appropriate anymore. But here's a
Yes.
problem potentially, right? Not that it has happened with Bina, but it could have, might be, right? If the
Hmm.
person sees themselves because they're thinking in hierarchy, and they see themselves as equal or slightly better than Beena. They know stuff. They're in the know, right? And so, and they've
Hmm.
been, all right, more or less sharing with Beena, but they know, and they give her advice every now and then. Maybe they get a little bit from her, but if that's their perception of the reality. Now Beena comes along and she does Way-of-Impeccability, and she spends all this time, and Beena goes on a learning and growth curve. It's not like the one behind me, right, which is up and down, but it's like a exponential curve, right? It goes zoom, it goes up, right? So suddenly Beena is this whole other person, and suddenly Beena is saying things, and Beena is, uh, wow, that's so much more. And the person before who saw themselves as equal or slightly better than, and was thinking that they could give Beena advice because they were this or they were that, or they're a coach or whatever they are, doesn't matter, right? Suddenly they
Yes.
realize comparatively, Venus in a whole other paradigm. Venus got so much more, and I thought I really knew what was going on, but I don't. This is Bina's internal understanding. That Bina had an idea. She never was arrogant to think that she knew what was going on, but she had an idea that she knew a little bit. And, what she did know was valuable. It wasn't invaluable. But relative to what she now knows, it's very little, right? She's exploded what she knows. But her previous friend, potentially, now it doesn't want to do what Bina did and acknowledge that their moreness is actually very little. They want to hold on to that moreness. They don't want to make the effort like Bina has to learn, to grow, to immerse. They want to keep the status quo. So if they can't make this, what do they have to do? They have to pull Bina down because Bina's now way up high over there, and this is unacceptable because relatively I'm nothing compared to you way up high. But if I can pull you down more or less to my thing, okay, all right, maybe you know a bit more, maybe you got it going on, but relatively we still more or less okay. Which means I still have some value. This is the friend now. The friend thinks, well, okay, at least if we're more or less in the same ballpark, more or less, then at least I still have some value. But if you way up there and I'm way down here, I've got no more value, which of course is not true. And this is why hierarchy is such a major problem and why I keep bringing it up. It needs to be, we need to understand it. It affects us without us even realizing it. That friend may be doing things to pull down Bina and criticize and find fault with what she's saying and blah, blah, and say things to make herself look important and all this. Not because she's actively thinking, oh, I need to be higher and I need to bring Bina lower. It's never deliberate. Well, it can be with BMNs, it's deliberate, but for most people, they don't consciously think this. It just happens because it's what they think they should do. They're not even aware of it, right? Like that hypocrisy that Bina was talking about. People know it's not right. Sometimes they're not even aware of it, but they don't consciously think it's hypocrisy. Bina did. So people behave according to pressure on them. And we need to be aware of this, right? And personally, also, we need to be aware of it. And this is where self honesty comes into it. Yeah. People don't want to admit they're wrong because if you say you're wrong, you go down in the hierarchy like crazy. And whatever gap there was, it's now even bigger. Not in Moreness-Culture. In Moreness-Culture, it's the exact opposite. The more you acknowledge that you were wrong, incorrect, mistaken, didn't know, unaware, the more moreness you have in your life, and the more you become part of Moreness-Culture. Denial, lack of self-honesty, refusal to acknowledge what's real and true, what honestly, this is making you not part of Moreness-Culture, right? So if you want to be part of Moreness-Culture, it's the exact opposite. And in terms of people are respecting you, if you keep lying to yourself, well, it's very hard to respect you fully. But the more you're honest, the more respect you're going to get. Very simple, right? Due respect. Not ego
Exactly.
respect and not BS respect, but due respect. I can't really respect you if you're dishonest, because you know this. When it comes to ignorance, that has nothing to do with respect. My respect is completely independent of your knowledge, your ignorance, because that's not necessarily your own doing. Same with awareness. Yeah. If you deliberately choose to be unaware, that's something else entirely. Then I can't respect that. Yeah. If you choose to remain ignorant because you're looking to protect yourself and for nonsense reasons, no, sorry. Yeah. But like I said, ignorance is not an issue of respect generally. In hierarchy culture, it is. Yes. In superiority paradigm culture, it is. But not in Moreness culture. In Moreness culture, I respect you because you want to learn. I respect you because you're a person. End of story. You start off
Exactly.
with tons of respect. In hierarchy culture, you have to cultivate and grow that respect. In Moreness culture, you start off with the respect, and you can really lose it. But the respect that you have to start off with, you can't really get more than that, right, Beena?
Yes.
I respect all
Yes.
babies. I respect all babies equally.
Yes.
I can't really give them any more respect. Yeah, them having accomplishments in this, being a clever baby, a smart baby, that has nothing to do with respect. That's just how it is. Yeah, just how it is. Just how it is. Right. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah. So very important. Yeah, yeah. Very important to understand this. Very important to be aware of this. And competing, winning, it's so deeply ingrained. People can't help it. Especially when they're not aware. And that's what we're trying to do. Everything we do is part of Moreness culture. Even though we're reading, doing the capital R reading, doesn't matter. It's still part of Moreness culture. And we are looking actively to unhook from things like competing and comparing. Yes? Comparative mindset, winning, competition, all of the stuff, especially competing as people. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I mean, when we say, which is so fascinating to me. Everybody's trying to be better than everybody else in hierarchy culture. But how often haven't you seen this in movies? Oh, you think you're better than me, and it's this biggest insult ever. And then the person's all defensive. You know, I wrote a story about this where it's like the wizard goes into the bar and he orders milk and because he's thirsty, he's traveling and he orders milk. And anyway, so the louts in the bar, the tough guys, uh, what's up with drinking the milk? So, well, I like milk and I'm thirsty, and they don't like this because it's different. Him drinking milk in their mind, because of mentality of opposites, because he's not drinking alcohol, implies to them, and because he's different, and difference is something that's a negative, they take it as a criticism of them drinking alcohol. When it's absolutely not. He was just thirsty, right? And he can't explain this to him. They don't want to know. So they're looking to pick a fight with him, right? And so the guy said, well, I just like milk. And so, why don't you have a drink? Well, I'm traveling in the middle of the day. And besides, my body doesn't like alcohol. I don't care for it much. Oh, all right. Yeah. So then, of course, the tough guy says, well, you think you're better than me? And the wizard says, well, duh. The guy doesn't know what to do because he's expecting a denial. He says, "Of course I'm better than you." And then he goes to all the points. I made an effort to learn, and I'm. He tells him, "Oh, yeah, of course, that the story devolves from there." But it's just a fun story to illustrate the foolishness, the idiocy of this whole point about being better than. What criteria do you use? So at the end of all of that, the wizard said, "No, I don't really think so. But according to your logic, am I not better than you?" And then the thug, the goon has to say, "Well, yeah." It's like, you know, it's a foolishness, in other words, and that is the point of the story, to point out this foolishness. When you get into this comparison, you get into idiocy, yes, and you get caught up in all this nonsense. We want to avoid that. Moreness culture is all about avoiding this. It is a learning culture. When we learn, when we learn to learn how to learn, we also learn that learning is play, learning is joy. When we put those two together, everything changes, right? So what do I care where you're at in your learning journey? Yes. Relative to the universe, we are all right at the beginning. Yes. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much relative to you. It's relative to what there is out there. And when we're in moreness, what difference does it make? If you're going from moreness to moreness, does it matter where along the path of moreness you are? No. The experience of moreness is magical. It's wondrous. The experience of the next moreness, it's also magical and wondrous. It's not better or worse. Yeah, it's always fantastic. So what does it matter if you're starting your journey or you're at the end of your journey or close? Who knows? You'll never get close to the end of your journey. It's an infinite journey. So it's not possible to be close, right? But the experience is always the same. It's always marvelous and wonderful. Yeah. So what does it matter where you're on the journey? It's idiotic to compare. Completely idiotic. Is your joy any more joyful than my joy? It's like in gaming, I saw this a lot, who's better? I say, man, what's the point of your game? Why are you playing? Playing because I like playing. Yeah, the point of your playing is to have fun. Yes? Yes. Okay, so the one who has the most fun is the one who's the best at the game. This they would not accept. Nope. Even though it's indisputable logic, they never ever said and replied, well, yeah. Never. They always wanted to cling to their idea. I'm better at playing the game. I can score higher, whatever the criteria was that they used, right? Competitive criteria. There's only one criterion, and that's the reason you're playing the game is to have fun. Yeah? If you and I want to say better or not, if you want to now compare, well, the one who's having the most fun. Who's to say who has the most fun? Impossible. Impossible. Yeah? Idiotic stuff, right? Superiority paradigm is full of idiocy. Full of idiocy. Let's not be idiots. Let's not be idiots, people. Okay? Okay? Let's not be idiots. Let's not be idiots. All right. So let's continue with our reading. Yes?
Yes.
Let us continue. I'm going to pull it up in a moment. Beena, you were talking
Yes.
about how much you love comments.
Oh, yes.
Can you share a comment that is, from our perspective, a Moreness-Culture perspective, a cool comment,
Oh, yes. Oh,
please?
yes.
Because it's been a while, I have to find our place in the story, so it doesn't take long. But
Okay, no problem. No problem.
I
No
am
problem.
keen to share that anyway.
Oh, yes. That is
Yeah,
something like, yes.
it's important.
Uh,
It's
it, it,
important. Let's put it that
it
way.
is important, and of course, it
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
so valuable. It's so
yeah,
valuable.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's most
Because,
magical. I find it most amusing. I had so much trouble with TikTok getting it to live stream automatically,
mm,
and then TikTok was down for 2 days. And now it's back up again. I think there's like a 75-day grace period or something, and then we'll see
mhm.
again. But anyway, I was like, I don't have to. I don't have to hassle with TikTok anymore. But obviously now it's back, so now I have to go back. But I had sort of figured it out. So anyway, um, I just was amused at this, and we just happened because of appropriateness um, that we weren't live. We went live yesterday. We went live Friday. We had just had work to do. It's had stuff to do. Just life got in the way. So the last time we were live, TikTok was still working. Now that we're live
Yes.
again, TikTok's back again. Just very
Wow.
amused. Yeah,
We just missed
yeah,
that part conveniently.
yeah. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, but still, I didn't get my that your mail about that.
The
So
email I sent it to you. I emailed it to you.
I am checking, but let's see.
Oh, look in
Oh,
your
it
spam.
is. Oh, no, 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 no. It is
The
from
other
the
email.
Leon.
Right, right, right,
Yes,
right,
that's
right,
why.
right, 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 right. Okay.
Okay, I want to share a screen, so then it will
Yeah,
be
go
good to
ahead.
read.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah, please.
Yes. Okay.
All right. You explain.
Uh,
You read while I do
yes,
this.
you guys can see on my screen that okay, it's a comment from uh, Elsbeta78. If I'm pronouncing it right,
Yeah.
pardon me if I'm not. I'm just trying my best. But whoever, so it's Elsbeta78, and they made a comment. Your expectations are not reality, quote unquote. It says something, and then they says again, if evolution is not built in, it will die, quote unquote.
Another quote. Yeah.
Yes. Do I want to think this way, or is it just easy,
Do I
quote
want
unquote?
to think this way, or is it just easy? What a quote! What a quote! What a
Yes,
quote!
correct. Again, another one. It is difficult to imagine being friends with who I was 7 years ago.
Is that
And
true for
then,
you, Beena?
absolutely. And then this is most excellent Silembina.
Right.
Before I'm going to just talk about this, I want to say that whoever they are, they made like really put effort to
Yeah.
make sure that they were like really getting something out of it, not actually appreciating us
Exactly.
only, but they were making
Extracting
sure
value.
that what they were getting out of it than what they received already, and they put
Yeah.
things there, making it really obvious, not for ourselves, like for us, but also for them.
For themselves.
This is
Right.
yes, yes.
Right.
This is
Right.
something they did, like really being thorough. It is make it obvious, be
Right.
deliberate.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
many things in just one comment because they put all these quotes from the live they were watching. And like,
Yeah.
okay, so one still says your expectations are not reality. It's a big, huge thing. If
It's
I will
life
just put it
changing.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, it's a amazing, huge awareness. And then says
Right.
that okay, if evolution is not built in, it will die.
Again,
Again,
life changing. Life changing.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then still
Yeah.
says, okay, again, do I want to think this way or is it just easy? Oh my
Yeah.
God. Really, if we can ask these questions to ourselves, sometimes when we feel things,
Exactly.
it is life
Exactly.
changing. It is transformative right there in that particular
Yes.
situation,
Yes.
locally and also
Yes.
and on bigger level. Yes. And
Yes.
then it is difficult to imagine being friends with who I was 7 years ago. This is something I said because
It's profound.
this is an outcome.
Keep it
This is an
real.
outcome. This is a reality for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And Elsbeta just put all these quotes here. It is not a comment. It is not just a random comment. It is not just an appreciation. They made it sure that whatever they were thinking, they're making it really, really obvious for themselves. And of course, for us
Yes.
also. And that is the
Yes.
real magic of it. Because I'm almost 100% sure that they are not going to forget about this.
Right.
Once they put
Right.
some effort, energy into this, focused attention, and make it
Yeah.
obvious, really made it obvious. Now it is
Yeah.
going to stay with them. This is a
Exactly.
transformation right there.
Exactly. So,
Just one comment is a
yeah,
transformation right there.
exactly. And the magic of it is we love that comment. We absolutely love that comment. Why? Superiority bias. Oh, it's very complimentary to you. That's not why. That is not why. We love it because Elspeth is demonstrating that she is listening appropriately, hearing appropriately. She's taking what is presented and she's appropriately appreciating it. She's appropriately connecting to it. Yes, she's making it hers, and that's appropriate. Right? That's the point. She's getting value out of it. She's recognizing the value. And that's where the magic lies. Right? Not because it's a complimentary to us. Not at all. Right? That's yes, it's nice, but that's not what matters. Yeah? What matters is Elspeth's appropriate connectivity. Doesn't matter if I say a lot of nonsense. She's pulling out what's valuable, what's useful to her. Yeah? And that's what matters. It's the same way as what we are doing when we are doing the Don Juan readings. Yeah? We have the
Yes.
quote file and we pull out the quotes because we're going to reorganize them. But in the end, we're going to make them our own. Well, all right, we've already done it and we've gone past making it our own. We've extended on that. But nonetheless, that's the starting point. You need to make it your own. So read my comment there to Elspeth, please, Bina, my response to that.
Okay. I need to go and check in my email
Oh,
again.
okay. If not, don't worry
Yes.
about it. I mean, basically, just I shared my appreciation and said this is what
Oh,
I
yes.
also do. I also pull quotes, as I just mentioned now, right? And
Yes.
this is because it's so valuable to do this. But you have to go further, not just write the quotes down, but you have to make the quotes your own. and learning to self-quote. Because those quotes, it's not quotes or Beena, it's not quotes we had memorized or remembered. They came organically. We don't prepare for anything.
Oh, yes.
No rehearsal. They come organically because this is a truth to us that we are speaking. Whether or not it's a truth for you may or may not be. Some of them, like the quote about evolution, what is it again?
You want me to read this again?
Yeah, the quote about evolution. Read it again, please.
Okay. My screen is full. Okay. Your expectations are not reality. If evolution is not built in, it will die.
If evolution is not built in, it will die. Now, to me, that's a self-evident sensibility because evolution is self-evidently sensible, right? And if it's not built in, then it's going to die. So build it in. It's sensible, but it's self-evident. You don't have to take my word for it. If you think it through, well, duh, right? That's valuable to me. Self-evident sensibilities, because I don't have to believe anybody else. What's valuable is that they shared it and brought it into my awareness, but I'm the one that's thinking it through. And okay, well, okay, I get it. Yeah, well, evolution. Well, of course, yeah. And I think I'll figure it all out. That's the part that makes it your own. Once I understand why it is sensible, why it is valuable, according to me, I've made it my own. And then it becomes mine. And when it becomes mine, I actually can use it and live it. Yeah. And then I can act on it. When it's somebody else's, I can still act on it, but it's a little harder, right? It's just the way we set up. We have to make things our own to really get the full value out of it. Yeah. So that's why these
Yes.
quotes can take it a little further. So I said to Elspeth, I said, I highly recommend you make your own dictionary of power. Now, dictionary of power is about conceptions. You can put quotes in there because a quote is about the conception, evolution, evolution built into your system, right? We're looking to refine it to a conception. But if evolution isn't built in, so you can make it into a singular conception, which is built-in evolution. Put that in a dictionary of power. Built-in evolution. See, that whole quote now has been refined into one conception. Built-in evolution. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Just absolutely wonderful. As a matter of fact, I will add that to my own dictionary of power. I don't think I have that in that particular format in there. Yeah. So it's important to do this stuff, right? And do it now. Don't wait. Add it to your dictionary of power right away. Because you never remember, you always think you're going to. Built-in evolution. Perfect. Now, I think if you want to get really technical, you might have to say built-in evolutionarianism, something like that. But it's a clumsy word, so yeah, but we won't get too overly technical. All right. Again, so I said to Elspeth, if you're not sure what the Dictionary of Power is all about, what it means, what it connects to, etc., then come on Zoom sometime. Let me know, and you can come on Zoom and we can go over it, and we can share with you what it's all about. Right? Be happy to. Be more than happy to. Yeah. We, we,
Oh,
we are
yes.
we are exceptionally generous with our time when when it comes to earnest learning. When somebody is earnestly, really intent on moreness and learning and growing, we are very generous with our time. Exceptionally so. Yeah.
Yes.
The underlying motivation, the underlying intent, this is the core issue. Yes, Beena? That's what we
Yes.
look at. That's what we look at. Yeah. Somebody who to whom learning and growing is a passion, almost a need. That for that we have unending time, as Beena is so well aware. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That's very powerful stuff. All right. Let me screen share and then we continue with our reading. We continue with our reading. Life is so brilliant. Life is so brilliantly brilliant. It is a most wonderful thing. It is most wonderful. I don't think I started the live. I did not on Instagram. All right, sorry, but we'll start now. All right. Hello, IGers. Eagers. I don't know. Can I call them eagers? Beena? I'm not sure. I'm not
Hi,
sure.
cheers. Yes, I.
Well, eagers. I know IGers is kind of clumsy. Eagers is much easier, right? Yeah. I mean, like TikTokers. I don't know. Tickers or talkers is much better than TikTokers, right? You know, I don't know if I could call them
Yes,
tickers or talkers, but I like it. Talkers, kind of nice. Tickers depends. I think that I use them both depending on the situation, right? Sometimes you're ticking, sometimes you're talking. I don't know. It depends, right? Anyway, it's just me and language. Just me and language. Language is just brilliant. It's a marvelous business, and we need to be aware of it. All right, and use it. Right, Beena. We have to use language. We have to use language. All right.
exactly.
So hello to all the ideas, and we are going to continue our reading of
Yes, and while you are doing this,
you.
I'm
I'm
just going
ready.
to
I'm ready.
I'm just responding, taking care
Okay.
of Instagram and
All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the last was that Don Juan was reflecting and talking about Carlos's encounter with the ally while he had smoked the smoke, right? Jumito, the little smoke, Don Juan's particular smoking mixture, and said, Carlos wants to know what it was all about, as he always needs to know, and he asks, Carlos says, how can I get a spirit catcher now? Apparently, the ally is going to give you one himself. How? I don't know. You'll have to go to him. He has already told you where to look for it. Where? Up there, on those hills where you saw the hole. Would I be looking for the ally himself? No, but he's already welcoming you. The little smoke has opened your way to him. Then, later on, you will meet him face to face. But that will happen only after you know him very well. All right, so that's where we left it off, and we're starting the new section here, right? And while Bina is busy, I'll read. We arrived in the same valley in the late afternoon of December 15, 1969. Don Juan mentioned repeatedly as we moved through the shrubs that directions or points of orientation were of crucial importance in the endeavor I was going to undertake. I wonder if I read this already now. No matter. We'll read it again, if not. You must determine the right direction immediately upon arriving at the top of a hill, Don Juan said. As soon as you're on the top, face that direction. I think we did all this again. Yeah, this is where he gives him all the directions. Oh wow, I'm far away from where we were. We did all this. Okay, hang on. I'll figure out where we are in a second. Page 132, not page 115. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry. I thought we were on page 115, but we're on page 132. All right. So anyway, so Carlos had this whole experience where the spirit or the ally came and it tapped him on the neck. He was lying there all coiled up in a ball, and it went on the whole night, and he was all terrified and everything, right? So he didn't have this most pleasant experience. So I thought that was the aftermath of this, right? Because it repeats the same in the abstract. So, um, and he was explaining about the 8 points. Don Juan was all right. No, sorry. I don't mean to be so. You indulge too much. Yeah. All right. So epilogue. Oh, okay. Uh, Oh, they went. Don Gennaro came back again, and they went on this walk. And Don Gennaro was showing him his secret hiding technique. And basically, the abstract of it is again looking to collapse Carlos's worldview that's so rigid, right? That things aren't what the way Carlos assumes they are, right? He thinks he knows how the world works, but the world does not work the way he thinks it does. Carlos also is starting to realize, little by little, very slowly, that he does not work the way he thinks he does, right? His whole worldview, self view, all starting to change. And it's Don Juan and Don Gennaro are looking to crumble, to collapse this worldview so that he can perceive the greater worldview, which is incomprehensible to him. And as far as he's concerned, impossible, right? And he can't get there, right? So Don Juan ends here with saying, you indulge too much, right? Which, yes, Carlos is a big indulger. So we get to the epilogue here. Don Juan slowly walked around me. He seemed to be deliberating whether or not to say something to me. Twice he stopped and seemed to change his mind. Whether or not you return is thoroughly unimportant. However, you have the need to live like a warrior. You have always known that. Now you're simply in the position of having to make use of something you disregarded before. But you had to struggle for this knowledge. It wasn't just given to you. It wasn't just handed down to you. You had to beat it out of yourself. Yet you're still a luminous being. You're still going to die like everyone else. I once told you that there's nothing to change in a luminous egg. He was quiet for a moment. I knew he was looking at me, but I avoided his eyes. Nothing has really changed in you, he said. Okay. Wow. 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 That's the end of the book. I thought there was more to it. I really was. Wow, Beena.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
This is quite marvelous. I'm very pleased we're at the end of book two. There's a lot of value in book two, as you can see from if we look at our quote file that we pulled from. We pulled a lot more
Yes.
from that. But in book three, our quote file is going to explode. Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm reluctant to get going on book three. By the way, this
Yes,
is
because
not the original
what?
cover.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's not. It's not. I don't know where this cover comes from. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, they changed the covers, just to keep it fresh and all that. All right. So now let's just look at this. If you remember, the index or the table of contents from book two was two parts. The task of seeing or perceiving and something else. I don't know. But basically two parts of, or the that was it. That was it. The preliminaries of perceiving, and then the second part was the task of perceiving. Yeah, it was just
Hmm.
two points. But look at this. Look at this. Just what we're seeing here. Reaffirmations from the world around us. A conception, reaffirmations from the world. It's a conception. Erasing personal history, conception. Losing self-importance, conception. Death is an advisor, conception. Assuming responsibility, conception. Becoming a hunter, conception. Being inaccessible, conception. Disrupting the routines of life, conception. The last battle on earth, conception, 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 all the way down, right? Right? All 20. Now, Journey to Ixtlan and the second ring of power are conceptions. We don't know what they mean. Stopping the world, we don't know what they mean, right? All the rest, okay, ring of power, we don't know. Gate of power, we don't know, but we're going to find out, right? I mean, death as an advisor, we can kind of figure out. But many of these are like the gate of power, it's not, it's a conception, yes, but it's also a very specific technique. So this is a whole different book, but most of this, right? All of these things, being accessible,
Hmm.
assuming responsibility, right? Death as an advisor, become accessible to power. It's actually stuff we can do. Changes the book, right? Because before, smoking the smoke, taking the mushrooms, whatever, all the power plant stuff and the sorcery stuff, like meeting the ally, it's not stuff that's accessible to us, or at least not easily, right? And very difficultly. And if you're going to do it on your own, it's high risk, very dangerous. Yeah. So it's not actually accessible to us. Furthermore, Don Juan says very clearly that these are not worthwhile paths. He says, if somebody learns to perceive energy directly, the sorcerer is a sad fellow compared to him. So to me, I'm like, okay, I hear you, Don Juan. I'm just going to skip that whole sorcery stuff. To what end? It always was pointless to me from the very beginning. Right? Likewise, with the power plants, it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of stress and hassle, which you don't need to do. You can skip over it. You can do things more directly, right? You don't have to have it. Yeah. So again, we are going to the things that really matter. We are looking at the bigger picture. For me, always bigger picture. Before I encountered Don Juan, bigger picture was always important, right? And again, I want to emphasize this. I came to Don Juan very late in my journey. I'd already developed my own philosophy and psychology, and I was on my own path. I had too much humility and modesty to be fully aware of it. And Don Juan helped me with that. And yes, I gained tremendous value from Don Juan. One of the things was and appreciation of language. Yes, which is it. I always had it, but I didn't know it, and so it made me aware of it. And I took what here we're seeing on the screen here. We're seeing this. I took this further. Right here we have basically the start of a dictionary of power. Do we not, Beena? Beena, where are you?
Yes, I'm here.
Right? Isn't this the start of a dictionary of power?
Exactly. And you were saying, okay,
You
dictionary of
comment a
power.
bit. I'll be back in
Sorry.
a second. You comment.
Okay.
Carry on. I'll be back in a
Yes.
second.
Okay. Estelle was saying about that, okay, our code file is going to explode. This is something very, again, I feel very fortunate. Again, sometimes my vocabulary, fortunate, yes. Again, opportunity for me. And I love to grab opportunity. Really, really. I love to accept that. I always, very shamelessly, very confidently, whatever you want to say that, I always say that, okay, I am an opportunist. And why I would not be? I don't know. I feel that silly. If universe is providing you an opportunity, grab it. What's the ego there inhibiting you from not grabbing the opportunity? So what I was saying that, okay, I'm getting distracted, that our code file is going to be exploded. This is still is mentioning us that, okay, yes, book one was good. Okay, book two, very valuable. Now book three is going to be really amazing. Having someone who can actually share with you his own experience of understanding and trying to understand Don Juan and his intent, and of course his mediums and everything. Having someone at your disposal, like, really is a blessing, because I cannot imagine myself to get so much value without having someone who is actually providing me context and details and what is valuable, where to pay attention. Of course, I'm paying attention to everything, but this is so
All right.
valuable. And I love this opportunity. Universe provides me this opportunity. And of course, it is available for everyone. I call myself that, okay, I'm an opportunist. And I always say that and I accept that. Why anyone would not be? Opportunities, okay, yes, we have a different negative association with that, but I take it as a positive. If universe is providing you an opportunity, grab it. Grab it,
Yeah.
otherwise you are stupid.
Oh
Sorry,
yes. Oh yes.
you're
Oh
stupid.
yes. Oh
And this is
yes.
an
Oh
opportunity right
yes.
here, that you can have someone who is providing you context, who is providing you different perspective on it, who is
Yeah.
connecting Don Juan things in this time right now, in this era of AI
Yeah.
and everything. Now you can connect with that. It is not old and gone by things altogether. No, he is connecting with that.
Oh
Grab
yeah.
this
Oh yeah. Oh
opportunity.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Grab this
Oh yeah.
opportunity. Get the value.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And exactly. And value comes from understanding your priorities. And all throughout book one and two, I have consistently been emphasizing that what is of value to us, what has to come first, is way of impeccability, or the warrior's way, as Don Juan calls it. Now, the reason I like to call it way of impeccability rather than the warrior's way, because the warrior's way, unfortunately, like the term seeing, has baggage to it. Yeah, way of impeccability, no baggage. Very clear to understand what this is. It's inherently self-explanatory. Yeah. Warrior's way
Hmm.
could mean a lot of things. Way of impeccability, it's very clear. Yeah. Very obvious. So this is very important, and that has to come first. If you want to get into the sorcery, of course, it's your choice. I can't say it's good, bad, right, or wrong. You want to get into the power plants, they have lots of values, but there's a price to be paid. Again, there's no right or wrong to it, as appropriate. However, you have to first be impeccable. You have to have way of impeccability first. And way of impeccability, clarity of intent. What are you really trying to do? And that's important. Thinking things through to the end, absolutely critical. It's one of the principal core tools of not only Moreness-Culture, but way of impeccability too. Way of impeccability is a core foundational part of Moreness-Culture, right? And here's the key. When you do think your intent through to the end, And you say, well, why am I doing the sorcery? Let's just say you want to get into all the power plants. Why am I doing the power plants? To what end? Well, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to be more. Okay. And then once you've done it, what comes next? What comes after? Your end goal is not to acquire some talent, some ability. Your end goal is personal freedom, right? It's not a particular
Mm.
skill. It's not solving a particular problem. Yeah. See? So
Yes.
that's why I like sorcery. Well, all right, I can do a lot with it, a lot of cool stuff. I can do divination or whatever. I can move somewhere. I can deal a blow to my enemies. God, who the hell wants to have enemies? Who even has enemies? Who even has this word enemy in their brain anymore? See? So when you realize that some of these things have value, but only within a bubble, but when you have clarity of intent and you're going to the very end, that the bubble becomes totally, totally, totally irrelevant. Yeah, we skip over it. But in all of these, if you don't have impeccability, none of these techniques are going to help you. None of these abilities are going to help you. Yeah, none of them, because you'll just
Mm.
end up throwing it away. You'll end up chucking it. As Carlos messed up many a gift because he wasn't impeccable and he didn't know what he was doing, right? Now, impeccability will guard you against ignorance, will protect you from ignorance. Very
Mm.
important, very important, very important, okay? Because part of
Yes.
part of way of impeccability, yes, impeccability is the start. It's a component of way of impeccability, but it's the start. If you're truly impeccable, you're going to realize at some point that you cannot rely on your own decision making entirely. When you have to, yes, but there are times when you're going to know for a fact that your own decision making is compromised, is limited, and not enough. So impeccability says, well, then what? Well, then I have to rely on something else. On what? Well, the universe. Okay. See, when you think it through, I'm skipping all the thinking through and figuring it out. That's where attunement comes into it. And then when you start to realize this, there you go. Right. So this is a very big deal. So way of impeccability, of course, starts with clarity of intent and ends with attunement. There's a whole bunch of wonderful stuff in between. Capital T trust, self-conception, all sorts of marvelous stuff. Yeah. Very powerful stuff. But it's important to understand this comes first. Yeah. Very, very important. And that we can skip over much. So this book 3 is the core of the warrior's way. Now he'll always be referencing it after this, Don Juan, but he gets into other stuff that's all different stuff that is valuable, but not as valuable as the core, right? Because once you have the core, you can go anywhere with it, whatever you choose, whatever path is appropriate to you. Yeah, you have the ability to be appropriate. Without that ability, none of it matters. Without the
Yeah.
ability to be appropriate, none of it matters, right? That's why you
Yes.
need way of impeccability, to have the tools to be appropriate. Yeah, very powerful, very, very powerful. All right, let's end things right there. I was trying to see why the thing doesn't show on TikTok. I thought when I do the share that it would go in the center, but it doesn't seem like that. It would automatically put it there, but I didn't. All right, never mind. Beena, any closing comments?
Okay, yes, this is exciting that it is like very abrupt. Like, oh my God, we were expecting it is going to last very long, the book two, but okay,
Yeah, yeah,
surprise. And so from tomorrow, we are going to start book three. And we are going, okay, I was expecting it to be like, okay, taking really long. Yes, but we are going uh, relatively quicker than my expectation. So this is good.
yeah,
And I'm excited, as you mentioned, that okay, we are going to be like really an explosion in our code file. Not our code file, your code file,
yeah.
because I'm still not doing it because I know somehow that I'm going to get it. Sorry for being lazy. Yes. So I'm just saying that I'm including myself in it. Thank you so much, Sil, for sharing all these details and, of
Always a
course,
pleasure.
providing us value
Always a pleasure.
so much
Always a
everyone who is
pleasure.
going to watch us later.
Yes, yes.
Please, if you have anything, any comment, any question, anything about
Yeah,
Carlos, anything about Don Juan, his books, his mediums, his way of doing things, and of course about Way of Impeccability and Moreness Show, please do share with us.
yeah,
We
yeah,
love to respond to that, really.
yeah.
As we shared a profound comment. It's not a comment. It's the application right there of
It's
way
a
of impeccability.
sharing. It's a sharing, not a
Yes,
comment. It's a
yes,
sharing. Yeah,
yes, and it's an application of what we share in way of
yeah,
impeccability. They're
yeah,
right there. They did that. So yes, thank you
yeah.
so much for that. And again, please pay attention to your online algorithm because this is something. It is directly connected to your peace of mind, peace of being. Yes, sir.
Exactly, exactly. I was saying, think of that comment as an algorithm training sharing. Elspeth, in
Yes.
that comment, what is she saying to the algorithm? Not just the online, the internet algorithms and the
Mhm.
specific algorithms of whatever platform you're on, but the life algorithm. You're saying, oh, this stuff is important to me. This matters. I'm recognizing this as valuable, as life
Yes.
changing. See, you're gonna get more.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yes. Oh,
Fantastic.
it is fantastic. So please pay attention to your online algorithm because it is going to be really, really influential
Yeah.
for your peace of mind, especially because when you see things randomly coming things on your algorithm, like on your in your news feed, it really disturbs you. I think that okay,
Yeah.
as a sensitive person about things, and I feel concerned about so many things in my life. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I learned to live in my area of influence rather than my area of concern, but still, things sometimes bothers you. The stupidity, reluctance, ego, superiority paradigm, a lot of things really bothers you when you see that random stuff in your news feed. So if you don't want to do that, don't want to waste your energy and really getting bothered by all sort of nonsense, pay attention to your online algorithm because it is going to be very, very peaceful and valuable for you. And ultimately, it is
Yeah.
connected to your life algorithm. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Attention is the real currency. Spend
Yeah.
it wisely. See you guys tomorrow.
Wow, somebody joined us.
Oh.
Sawyer's Caller Al Cielo. That's a hell of a name. Anyway, I'll just call you Sawyer's. So yes. So yes,
Oh, wow.
Caller Al Cielo. I don't know. Anyway, so yes, so yes joined us on Instagram.
Yes.
So
Oh,
hello,
so
so yes, you
yes.
come right as we're about to leave, but I wanted to just say hello. But you can always watch it again. If it's not on IG to rewatch, it is on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So you can always watch there, rewatch there. Watch the whole thing. Brilliant, brilliant. All right, bye bye everybody. We shall see
Yes.
you tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right,
Yes.
bye bye,
Okay,
bye
so
bye.